Honorton, and of course, all the way from the great state of Iowa, Eric Pilcher is here. Hello, Eric.
Good afternoon, Matt. Happy 4th of July to you and Jenny.
Thank you. Yes, happy Independence Day, of course, to you and the birthday boy there, Rocky.
Yes, Rocky is 9 today. He was
Nine.
actually born on the 4th of July.
Well, very good. Very good.
Yeah, I have had him for 8 years and 1 month of his life.
Oh, excellent. Now, we are streaming live. Of course, most people will probably, especially with it being a podcast, most people will probably get the audio version after the fact. However, or watch the video on social media, but we do like to stream it live initially. And for people who are confused, because we've never done this on a Friday before.
No.
This is highly unusual. Usually we do either Saturday or Sunday. So just a quick explainer to people. The reason we're able to do this on Friday this week is because it is the 4th of July. It is a holiday. And typically, right about this time, I would be heading over to WMNH because I am on the air Friday nights. Friday nights, I'm a co-host on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. But because today is a holiday, Paul is probably on his way to the beach right now if he's not already there. So tonight's Retro Spectrum Radio is a repeat. Might be last week's show, or I'm not sure. But yeah, so that frees me up to do this with you. And it's good because for our main event segment this week, it's good to get into that while it's still fresh in my mind. But we'll come back to that, of course. But yeah, so welcome everybody to Tough Bumps episode 10.
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Not 10 weeks. I mean, because we've had. I don't think we've taken a week off.
I think there was 1 week we missed, right? Because
yes,
computer issues on my end.
Yeah,
I had to get a new computer because the one that I had just wasn't cutting it. I mean, I still have the other one, but it wasn't cutting it for streaming.
We'll blame you for it then. I'm fine.
You can blame me. I have broad shoulders.
Awesome.
Let's see.
We'll go with it.
Yes. So, of course, every week, for those new to the show, we do the main event, but we also, of course, have the undercard. And we've just got one story this week to talk about for the undercard. And that is
Cody Rhodes. Slow news week.
What's that? Yeah, slow news week, yeah. I mean, there's always a lot going on in the wrestling business, but we try to pick things that will be interesting to explore for a full segment and that we both have strong opinions about. Otherwise, I mean, if otherwise you can just go online and find a podcast that just covers every little thing, which some of them do. But
and even stuff they make up.
Yes, that is true too. Who makes stuff up? Do you think people who make stuff up?
Let's
get something for some clicks. Who do you think makes stuff up?
Who
do you think is an incorrigible liar? Go ahead.
Incorrigible liar is very strong.
I know
some of the dirt sheet guys take a kernel of a story and let it pop on up to a big popcorn puff. And I mean, like this whole thing we talked about, Karrion Kross not wanting to take bumps, and just one person says it, and it could be just a key grip or someone that doesn't know jack diddly crap about professional wrestling. And all of a sudden it becomes true. And it's ridiculous.
Rumors reported as fact and things like that.
Yep. And you're like, really? These are people's livelihoods we're coming at here.
You know, an example of that I saw in real time, and it really annoyed me. And these are people I like, so I'm not, whatever criticisms I have of them are constructive in nature. But the Podfather, as they call him, Conrad Thompson, and the show that he does with Eric Bischoff, and we've talked about Eric Bischoff, and I think we both like him and certainly respect him tremendously. I don't agree with him on everything, but they were talking about, it came up as a subject on the show. Conrad brought up this theory. Because, Vince getting back into entertainment with his new company and so forth, this theory that maybe Vince was going to start a rival wrestling company to go again to compete with WWE. What's that?
theorizing.
Right. But when I say I saw this happening in real time, it's like, so I'm watching or really just listening to this podcast of them talking about it. And it took only a couple of minutes for it to go from speculating, like they're kind of like feeding off of each other. Like it took a couple of minutes to go from speculating, oh, wouldn't this be interesting if, to, wow, I can't believe this is happening. So, wow, this is really going to happen. And it's like watching them, the two of them sort of talking each other into it. And so by the end of that segment, it's gone from just this wild theory that Conrad is just throwing out there to, yeah, Vince is starting a new wrestling company. I mean, we can't be 100% sure, but that's obviously what's happening here. And I was like, geez, you guys, this is asinine.
You know, one, with Vince McMahon, you can never put anything out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah,
He very well could start
it's
another wrestling company.
not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, or he could use this company to buy into an existing wrestling company.
Sure.
Possibly Impact or MLW would be the two that I would think of. I don't think NWA is an option
No,
for him.
no.
I think Billy Corgan is just satisfied he owns a wrestling company, and if it loses money, it loses money.
And it does.
Very much so. Whatever is what it is. I mean, yeah, stuff like that. And even if I do like them, they're guilty of it. You can't you can't spitball and present it as truth.
Yeah. And like I said, it's like if you watch the segment, it's like they talk each other into, it's like they're doing this sort of not Vulcan, this Jedi mind trick, but it's like mutual, like they're talking each other into believing this wild theory, and then it spreads. And that's the most infuriating thing about it. So then, like, other podcasters are reporting, well, Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson revealed this Vince McMahon, this earth-shattering Vince McMahon news. It's like, oh my God, you guys, it's like a cancer. It just spreads. It's just annoying to me.
Well, I mean, you also gotta look at it too from this perspective is anytime you go down a rabbit hole of theorizing, eventually you start presenting it as fact. And it's a very slippery slope that I don't even think sometimes you realize you're going down.
Sure.
So I will give them a pass on this, and I'm not saying you're bashing them for it. I'll give them a pass on it, but what I won't give a pass to is people that actually listen to it, like you, that should be able to ascertain it was all theorizing and just snowballed and being like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah. I
mean,
if I wanted to be fed nonsense and that I'm supposed to then believe for no reason, I would just, I know you don't like
listen
to
to
hear
Vince
name.
Russo.
I was going to say, brace yourself. I'm about to he who shall not be named. But yeah, because Vince Russo, like, I can't even bring myself to, I don't have the vitriol for him that you do, but I can't even bring myself to click on any of those thumbnails that I see of his stuff, because he just throws the wildest theories out there and he presents it as fact. And it's like, what are you doing, dude?
Bro, I got to be honest with you, bro. I'm telling you, bro, this is happening. I have sources still in the business, bro. They're telling me, bro, that this is going down. For the last year, even longer, The Rock is going to fire Triple H.
Yeah, he's been saying that, yeah.
And it's like, well, if he hasn't yet, and for The Rock to do that, this is a publicly traded company in Endeavor and TKO. He would have to go to the board. The Rock does not have anonymity here. He can't just go in and say, well, Triple H, see ya.
Right. It's not as simple as what's portrayed on television for the sake of
Yeah,
storylines. Yeah.
it's
Never has been.
or as simple as the New York simpleton Vince Russo likes to portray it as. It
Yeah.
would have to go to the board of directors,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you, Triple H has more support than Dwayne Johnson does with TKO
Sure. Sure.
right now.
Yeah.
I will die on that hill
Yeah.
that they're like, holy crap, WWE is having their most profitable years.
Hmm. Yeah,
We're
they are.
making money hand over fist,
Yeah.
and we're not going to rock the boat. Sorry, Dwayne.
Yeah. Hard to argue with success.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just one of the many ridiculous things he has said. He also floated the theory that Shane McMahon was going to get into AEW and with a small ownership claim and do a hostile takeover for
Mhm.
Vince McMahon to buy the company. And people, you're sitting here saying I'm using hyperbole to make Vince Russo not reliable or
Mhm. Not
no, I'm
credible.
not
Yeah.
non-credible. No, this is not hyperbole. He actually said this.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But this was the plan. And no, it can't be the plan because AEW has other minority people who own a minority stake,
Yeah.
and those people hate Vince McMahon.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's ridiculous, just
Now,
dumb.
now I don't want to be hypocrites though, because as we're having this conversation, and this is not me trying to be funny. This actually literally just occurred to me. We did claim on this show that we had figured out who the true identity was of the man who pretended to be Sammy Hagar in 1986.
We
at a
did,
WWF event.
we did.
But that was true, though. I mean,
That was true.
people can say that we're full of shit, but no, I mean, we did figure it out.
We did. And
Yes.
the fact of the matter is this. We gave this individual a hard deadline.
Mm-hmm.
A hard deadline to fess up. And
Mhm.
what did he do instead?
He dug
He posted a video calling us derogatory names, mentally challenged slurs, and I'm still waiting for part 2 of the video.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he did the original video, he said part 2 is next. That was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we haven't had a part 2. Maybe he got caught eating some onions, got a little teary-eyed.
Nobody likes onions.
Did it. But yeah, that person is the real Sammy Hagar. We uncovered it. And look, if anyone has proof that proves us wrong, we're open to hear it.
Yeah, we definitely have this one right until you prove us wrong. I mean, we can't prove it, but we know. But we know.
We
know.
know. I mean,
we know.
It's a dead ringer, honestly.
Yes.
It's a dead ringer. You cannot sit here and look at the fake Sammy Hagar and look at this person and say, no, they're wrong. You at least have to, after you see the photo of those two together, side by side, you would have to have a shred of belief,
right,
that this could be accurate.
Yeah, no, I think it's fairly obvious. By the way, that same person, I'll just mention, they have a podcast and a website, and they were talking about how they're going to update the website with new podcast episodes, and still the newest one is from the end of March. But apparently there's some other dude who's supposed to upload more episodes, but he can't because he's getting married. So I guess you can't. Oh, and he's buying a house.
He's buying a house and possibly getting married.
Yeah. So
Matt, how dare you? We're just talking about lying and perpetrating truth and perpetrating theory as fact, and you just misled the audience totally there.
Well, I did. I didn't mean to. It's just,
When you hear so much bullshit from one person,
yeah.
it's hard to discern what is what. So I'll give you a pass, but I wanted to clear it up. We believe in truth and honesty
Yes.
here at Tough Bumps, and
Yes.
we gotta be truthful and honest.
Well, the person we're talking about does have something in common with Vince Russo. They kind of have a similar way of speaking.
Yeah, and I believe both of them are functional illiterates.
Yes, agreed. Well, should we get to the undercard? We kind of had a little bonus, a dark match there. Actually, that was because that was an interesting subject. But
we got the crowd heated up.
That's right.
I think though, like I said this when we talked before, I think when we get into this event, you and I are going to share a lot of opinions because I actually watched it last night in preparation for this, or Saturday.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it. But
it's even fresher in your mind. But so our undercard match, now that we got the dark match out of the way, was I'm trying to be clever with these names for the segments. Although I guess the first one wasn't a dark match because it's on the podcast. But anyway, so Cody Rhodes, and we did mention The Rock earlier. Cody Rhodes admitting in interviews that, or in an interview, that The Rock did in fact want him to turn heel, and that it sounds like Cena was the second choice.
This is up there with who was the third man in the NWO. This is up there with that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
On because there's been theories like if Hogan wasn't going to do it, it was going to be Sting, or Mabel was the third man. Look.
Well, this is firsthand knowledge, though. Like where
I get that, but I don't see. I think turning Cody heel at this point would have been. It wouldn't have been good.
I agree.
Because you need any pro wrestling organization needs that pure white bread baby face.
Sure.
To get it over the hump. Because if you don't have that, then you have too many bad guys, or you have too many tweeners, which is very comparable, to what AEW has right now.
Well, not only that, but there's just no reason to do it. He's still very over as a babyface.
Yes.
I know that one of the things that people have been talking about is, in terms of him potentially turning heel soon, is that, there were some boos for him at WrestleMania and people cheering. I hate when my hat's crooked. People cheering John Cena, but that's going to happen at a WrestleMania with that crowd.
Anytime you have John Cena, there's going to be ebbs and flows, not just within the feud, but within the match.
Right.
And I take that with a grain of salt. What I look at is, in the match with Randy Orton, based on the clips I saw, he had a very good reaction. When he comes out for SmackDown, he has very good reactions. Now is not the time to. I don't think you can ever turn Cody Rhodes heel.
That I disagree with you on. I think the time will come. But I just don't think it's yet. I think they've got to take their time with it. But I do think the time will come, because I think eventually the fans will just want, it'll be time to kind of freshen him up a little bit. And, they were very stubborn with that for many, many, many years with John Cena. And even with Roman Reigns for a long time, they were stubborn with it. And when they finally gave in and did it, it paid off large dividends. But I think eventually, just to freshen him up, and I think he's really good as a heel. I think he has heel potential.
Here's why I say that,
mm-hmm.
and why I feel that way. Who's John Cena's father?
I don't remember his name.
Okay. Who is
I see where you're going.
who is Hulk Hogan's father?
That is Mr. Balea. No.
Who is Cody Rhodes' father?
Right. But what does Dusty have to do with it?
Dusty has to do with it because Dusty is probably the truest pro wrestling babyface ever.
Sure.
Yeah. Even when they tried to turn Dusty heel, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And you can sit here and throw, oh, it was a piss poor storyline. The guys they had him working with were afflicted with demons, talking Louis Spicolli and Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, the real problem was it just didn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. And so many people, and I can't explain to you why they don't do this with Dustin Rhodes. They attach Cody directly to Dusty. And maybe that's by Cody's design, but in my opinion, Cody has gotten a huge Dusty rub.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the sense of everyone is always going to see him as a babyface, even though his name, the American Nightmare, was meant to drive the opposite reaction of Dusty's The American Dream.
And he does have heel characteristics.
He does have heel characteristics, but I think the best you can do with Cody is tweener. I think that's the absolute best. I don't think you could. I've seen him as a full-on heel in AEW, and it just wasn't.
Well, no, he never turned in AEW. They wanted to turn him. I mean, they were booing him, but he resisted. Apparently, he didn't want to turn. They treated him like a heel at various points. Yeah,
and maybe that's why it didn't work. Even in, I mean, I would say when he turned on Kenny Omega in New Japan, like that was an attempt. That was an attempt, but he still didn't get heel heat. And that's so important for a heel to have, is that heel heat. And if he does, I don't see Cody getting it. I could see it being moderately successful, I guess. Yeah. But him being an over-the-top heel long-term, no. It's not him.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he'd have to change that much. Because like I said, he does have heel characteristics. The way that he speaks, the way that he dresses at a time where a lot of people are mad at rich people, and here's this guy with his very expensive suits. I think he could pull it off. I think he'd be effective. But he might get tween reactions, but that's okay, I think.
But here's what I just thought of.
Yeah.
I follow him. I follow Cody on Instagram and everything. How are you going to boo a guy that posts loving pictures of his wife, daughter, and dog? How are you going to boo a guy that is the slight, like, he is more American than apple pie with ice cream on it?
I don't think it matters. Kayfabe is kind of dead anyway. I mean, people separate the two. I don't think any of that matters.
I do. I mean,
look at Cena. Does anyone really believe John Cena is now this evil guy who actually hates the fans? No, but he's playing a character.
But I've said this before on this program. The greatest characters come from a sliver of truth.
Oh, sure.
And
sure.
I believe that John Cena has every negative thing he has said about the fans. He has felt a lot or a little over the last 20 years.
Maybe.
That's why it's so good, in my opinion. And people have bashed it and everything, and
I'm loving it.
I disagree.
I do too.
I think the end of last week's match at Night of Champions was a bit of a cluster. I think you had too much going on. The hug of him and Punk, and then Punk thinking, I got to look out for him, but I also got to look out for Rollins. And then Punk I think that you tried to do too much in a short period of time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it could work. I think it could work. And if he gets tweener reactions, so what? I don't think it matters in today's environment. I mean, a lot of heels get, there's always going to be that segment of fans that cheer for the heel anyway. But what about yeah, like you, for example. Yeah. What about at SummerSlam? Because there's a theory, and again, I'm not going to try to Conrad Thompson this and say, did you know that this is what they're doing? I'm not going to do that. No, but I
have a theory about where they're going with SummerSlam too.
Well, the theory that some people have, and I assume this is not your theory because you don't seem to think they can do it, is that they're going to do a double turn at SummerSlam and Cena returns to being a babyface and Cody goes heel, and they figure out a way to work that.
I don't think
you don't think that's what it is.
I don't think they can do a double turn with Cena at this point. You have to have him with a very strong tweener or heel in order for the double turn to work. And there has to be a build to the double turn. The best double turn in the history of the business was Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was a build to that.
Yes.
It doesn't have that momentum. But here's my SummerSlam theory.
Okay.
I think the road to SummerSlam begins next Saturday night.
That Saturday night's main event?
I think Gunther beats Goldberg
in
a very hard-fought, competitive match. I think at the end of the match, Seth Rollins cashes in. And everyone's like, oh, we get Gunther, Seth at one night of SummerSlam.
That turns Gunther babyface.
No, we don't.
No,
we don't. No. What is the biggest match they could do for Seth Rollins' first title defense?
Against Cena?
No, at SummerSlam. Rollins, Punk.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see. I was confused. Sorry. Yeah, I get it now. Yeah.
Then you build even more momentum with Gunther becoming this babyface because now he's chasing the title he lost.
Yeah.
Unscrupulously lost.
Yeah.
And you have him overcome this adversity. But you have Punk Rollins at SummerSlam.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then you do that night one. Then night two to end the spectacular, you have Rhodes Cena.
Okay.
I think that I don't think you could do a stronger two main events. Because keep in mind, SummerSlam is 2 nights this year.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So you need 2 strong main events.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a better feud WWE has right now than Rollins Punk. Because it just entrenches almost every story on Raw. You can connect those guys to any rivalry because you have of the Bronson Reed effect, because of the Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, all the ties these guys have.
Sure. Okay. No, I like that.
I think that is your money. And keep in mind that both Punk and Rollins were very successful in Ring of Honor, which SummerSlam is in New Jersey this year, which is was formerly a major Ring of Honor hotbed.
Yeah.
It's up there with Philadelphia for Ring of Honor.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So it would be huge.
Yeah.
To have that.
Yeah.
Night one.
Yeah.
I hope it happens because I think that put it in Hell in a Cell even. Like make it have stipulations. Make this be the blow off.
Yeah, I
these
agree.
two.
I agree.
I mean, I hate seeing it end, but man, what a way to end it. For the title, for all the marbles, Punk Rollins, and either way you go, fans are going to be upset. Fans are going to be upset if you have Rollins go over, or fans are going to be upset if you have Punk go over. But either way, you're going to make one group very happy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, with any main event, that's the best you can hope for. And I guarantee you will get, if you give them, you say, you know what? 9:15 match starts, 10 o'clock, we're going home. You give them 30 to 45 minutes, you have a match of the year candidate.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, shall we get to the main event?
Oh boy. I wish I still
WrestleMania.
drank alcohol.
WrestleMania 8. Oh yeah. Let me find that. I gotta find that graphic there.
Oh, do we have the poster?
I have a poster. I found a couple different ones, but there's a particular one that I found especially interesting because it's got more going on than the other ones I found. Because this one's got because
that's the cover. That's the cover of the program.
Oh, is it? Yeah, yeah. I like it because it's got, you know, all the posters I saw, of course, had Hogan and Sid and Savage and Flair, but this also has Undertaker.
Actually in circulation. There are posters you can buy. They're very hard to come by and very expensive as someone who's into wrestling collectibles like I am.
Yeah.
Hogan and Flair squaring off on a WrestleMania 8 poster.
So now that you mention it, I found something. Let's see. I think I have that. Because I saw this. Let me grab it here. Because that was supposed to be, for people who don't know, that was supposed to be the original main event.
Flair just looks so bloated in that photo.
You think so?
Oh my goodness.
Let me grab this other picture here. I assume this is the one you're talking about. It's the only one I've seen like that. That one?
Yes.
Yep. Because that was supposed to be the original main event. Yep. And I remember being completely baffled when it changed, because one of the criticisms I had about the build to WrestleMania 8 was, well, first of all, I thought it made perfect sense that it was going to be Hogan versus Ric Flair, because that was a dream match to so many people. You know, the perennial WWF champion against the NWA/WCW champion. And then I thought they did when they changed it, I thought from a storytelling perspective, they did such a piss poor job.
Oh, it was the drizzling shit.
They really didn't explain it at all. I mean, they did some things to set up the new double main event, which then switched to Hogan versus Sid Justice and Ric Flair defending against Macho Man Randy Savage, but they didn't explain it very well at all. I
like the Hogan and Sid story.
Yeah, I like the story, but
I like this story they told with that. But look, there's something to be said of sometimes your dreams can become a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's what happened here. Because when we saw Hogan versus Flair in WCW, every time we saw it, I thought, this is god-awful. Talk about two guys. I hated it. It. Because, one, the two guys, they just did not work well together. At least, this is all my personal opinion. Yeah. Take it for what it is. You don't like it, fine. I never liked Hogan versus Flair. I think for Ric Flair to be, when Ric Flair's a champion, you need a guy that can match with Ric Flair technically. You can't have a big powerhouse unless it's a powerhouse that puts fear into someone like Vader.
Sure.
That makes sense. But I remember thinking when they did Hogan versus Flair in WCW, it was always like, why am I worried about Hogan beating Flair?
Well, it pulled a big buy rate though, because they were finally because they were giving us the dream match that Vince deprived us of.
And that's fine. But for me, as a fan, I was just like, Ric Flair has the 4 horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
The horsemen could just get involved. Or Ric Flair could get himself disqualified. Why do I care?
Right.
I mean, in that, and you look at that poster, people say when Hogan got to WCW, you could tell he was lacking a certain boost, but you can tell it in that photo too. Hogan wasn't the powerhouse anymore. He wasn't believable anymore.
You talking about this folder or the other one?
Both of them.
Oh,
Look at him. He is a shell of what he was.
Oh, Hogan is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does look really thin there, doesn't he?
Yeah. And that was a big selling point. And look, if you did this, Matt, people, the story, and it's been corroborated, so it's not a story, it's fact, is they tried it on the house show circuit and it did horribly. Tickets didn't sell for it. The fans that went shit on it.
Yeah.
And to me, if Vince McMahon could not have made this work, as much as I dislike Vince McMahon,
mm-hmm.
At that point in time, he could make any storyline work. Mm-hmm. If Vince McMahon could not make those 2 guys work, who could?
Right.
Now so I like the pivot that they did, Hogan going to Sid, because that made sense.
It did and it didn't. It didn't make sense. Well, it didn't make sense because I would have liked a promo from Hogan, unless there's something I don't remember. I would have liked a promo from Hogan explaining why he was so angry with Sid that he was willing to give up his shot at the WWF title at WrestleMania.
Sid turned on him on Saturday night's main event.
But so what? So he turns on Hogan. So I mean,
this is the perfect making chicken salad out of chicken shit.
But shouldn't there have been a promo from Hogan explaining?
Keep in mind, Hogan was busy filming. I think it wasn't No Holds Barred.
Was it Mr. Nanny or
it was something else?
Suburban Commando?
No, Suburban Commando was before Undertaker debuted, because remember, Hulk Hogan discovered The Undertaker.
Yeah. No, I know Hogan was busy, I guess, but still, there should have been something.
Okay, Matt, I'll present a question to you. Usually you present the question to me, so I'm switching it up here.
Okay.
What pivot was better? Hogan going with Sid or Flair going with Savage?
Well, Flair going with Savage, they bothered to fill in the blanks. You know what I mean? But
if you fill in the blanks and the words don't make sense, what's the point? That was just awful.
Yeah, but at least they tried. Like with Hogan versus Sid, it's like there was no effort. Like they do the turn. But Hogan.
Well, the big caveat with this, and I remember because I actually went back and watched some YouTube clips as well. The big caveat with Hogan versus Sid wasn't Hogan versus Sid. It was Hulk Hogan's retirement match. It was supposed to be the end.
Well, even that though, they was very ambiguous.
It was what could be Hulk Hogan's final match. Like, Vince, really?
Oh yeah, and but here's the thing. So they managed to put in enough effort where Vince does that sit-down interview with Hulk Hogan and asks him, "Is this your final match?" And Hogan's like, I don't know, brother. I'm not sure. Like they managed to do all that, but they couldn't at any point have Hogan cut a promo where he says, something to the effect of, you know what, brother, I was looking forward to getting my title match at WrestleMania, but I'm just so mad at Sid. I'm going to fight him instead.
Yeah.
Why? Why didn't we get that? Some form of that. Something. It just didn't happen.
No, I get what you're saying. And it
very
makes sense.
sloppy storytelling, in my opinion.
I mean, on both sides of it.
Yeah.
I mean, because the whole thing with Ric Flair, like, one of the what is supposed to be detestable things about Ric Flair is Ric Flair can get any woman he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he obsessed with Miss Elizabeth to the point of bringing up a relationship that happened many, many moons ago?
Well, now maybe you can answer this because I can't remember this detail. Was it he was playing? I mean, the obvious answer to me is he was playing mind games with Savage. But did the mind games with Savage begin before or after the match was announced? Because if the mind games began after the match was announced, that makes sense. Savage is his opponent. He's playing mind games with him. But if the mind game started before the match was announced and that was a way to get to the match, that doesn't make any sense.
I think it started. I want to say it started before the match was announced.
Okay.
Because they were starting to build. But even then it didn't make sense because Randy had been such an infrequent in-ring competitor.
Yeah, he was kind of semi-retired at that point.
You were really just kind of like, why does Ric Flair care?
Yeah. Right.
This card was snake bit from the beginning.
Had some bright spots. We'll get into it, but had some bright spots.
To me, it had one bright spot.
Okay.
I mean, it had two, and my second bright spot may shock you.
Okay. I was thinking. Oh, God.
I thought the opening match was amazing. I thought it was really good.
Well, we can go through. Why don't we? Do you want to do it that way? We'll go through.
Yes, we can do that.
I've got. Let's see. Oh, it does say, according to Wikipedia, for storyline purposes, Sid Justice lobbied to wrestle Hulk Hogan due to tensions starting between the two at that year's Royal Rumble. But yeah, we should have seen some sort of promo about it from Hogan, though. Oh, by the way, though, one thing. So that press conference that they did.
Oh my God, that was awful.
When they were originally going with Hogan versus when Hogan was going to be the challenger to Ric Flair, and they showed that they showed a part of that again during the pay-per-view.
Yes.
So awful it was good, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've gone back on YouTube and watched Sid's reaction, and Jenny was seeing it for the first time when we watched WrestleMania 8, that press conference, and she thought it was pretty funny too. The way Sid, his over-the-top reaction in that moment is hilarious. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
WCW producers saw that press conference when they did the whole Goldberg thing.
Yeah.
They're like, Sid, we want you to act like this.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was funny.
I need to throw this in, Matt. Rest in peace, Sid Udy as well.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Because I mean, we are probably going to be very, very critical of Sid.
Yeah.
In this episode, but he tried, and he has nicknamed Softball Sid.
Yeah, because he used to take time off from wrestling to go play softball.
Yeah,
that was his real passion. He was more passionate about that than he was wrestling, even though he never made a dime playing softball. But he was, hey, God bless him. I mean, that was his passion. He went and chased it.
I'm as dumb as you think I am.
That promo. And I have half the brain that you do. Oh, yeah.
And oh, can we start over? Oh, we're live, pal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sid's greatest opponent was the English language.
No, Sid's greatest opponent was the was it the shaving cream can when he dismantled the barber shop set.
Oh, that's right. And they showed that clip too during the pay-per-view. Jenny was like, what's going on here? Yeah, because she hadn't seen that either.
The can legitimately explodes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really liked Sid, and I liked that he was so over the top and
I
absurd.
think he is.
I thought he was hilarious.
There was, for the longest time, I did not like Sid.
Yeah.
But I think he's easily one of the top 10 best big men in professional wrestling history.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he isn't on the level of my top 3.
Yeah.
Because I go Vader number 1. Vader, hands down, number 1, greatest big man in pro wrestling history. 2, I get a lot of flack for, but I go with Kevin Nash.
Mm-hmm.
3, I gotta go with Scott Hall.
Yeah.
4, Bam Bam Bigelow. I mean, but Sid is definitely in the top 10.
Oh, sure.
Of greatest big men, because in the ring, and there are so many Sid stories we could tell, like when he shit his pants at WrestleMania 13 in the main event with The Undertaker.
Yeah. Well, he was scared. It was The Undertaker. I'd shit my pants too.
Yeah. Poor Undertaker still had to tombstone him.
Yeah. That must have been awful. That must have been awful. Oh, so I'm looking at the rundown for the event. So there was a dark match that we didn't have to sit through, of course.
Thank God.
The Beverly Brothers versus the Bushwhackers. Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah.
So then they opened the pay-per-view with Reba McEntire.
One of Texas Mike's favorites.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. Texas Mike loves Reba McEntire singing the Star Spangled Banner.
He even sang Fancy on Retro Spectrum Radio with Pauly C.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
See, I tie it all in. I tie in the Connerton verse very well.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Yes, the Connerton verse. I like it. I made a comment to Jenny while Reba was singing. I said, boy, she's not taking her time, is she? Like, she sang it fast. Until the end, of course. She hits the big end.
You gotta think, though. You gotta think. This is hard to say. I was gonna say, might be the biggest crowd she had sung in front of.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
At that point. But she had been around since the late 80s, so I don't know. But
yeah,
at that stage, I don't see country music selling out a stadium.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
Like the Hoosier Dome. So look, Reba, damn, can she sing? And you know what? People, you can give me shit for this. Her show was very funny.
I never saw it. Her sitcom, Reba. I never saw a single episode.
I chuckle.
Yeah.
Because at night before I go to bed, I watch the Golden Girls. And then
the Golden Girls I loved.
And then on the Hallmark Channel, Reba airs after the Golden Girls. So I'll wake up and my TV will still be on and Reba will be on. So
yeah, I've never seen a single episode. It had a long run though. Didn't it run like 8 or 9 seasons?
5 years.
Oh, 5 years? Yeah, I thought it was even longer. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so it was on the CW, and the CW was notorious for canceling shows. They would cancel shows right when they hit the syndication cutoff.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Because that's when they're most profitable.
5 years.
When you can plug them in, when you can end them and throw them right into syndication.
Yeah. So the first match on the pay-per-view, Shawn Michaels versus Tito Santana, and Shawn.
I think that match was awesome.
I thought it was good too, and Sensational Sherry. It was cool to see her there, and she always played her part very, very well.
And keep keep in mind the interesting story about Shawn at this point. Shawn had just really started moving as a
Mhm.
singles.
Yeah.
And for him to go out and have a good match with
El Matador.
El Matador, yes. Good
That,
job, Vince.
that part was
Racial
unfortunate.
racial stereotypes for the win.
Yeah. And there's a lot of jokes. Heenan spits out a lot of jokes.
Yes. Yeah.
None of that stuff offends me, but it's like, but you couldn't do that today.
Oh my goodness. Bobby Heenan would get canceled today.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. But yeah, I thought it was a good match.
Well, I mean, Jesse Ventura always called him Chico Santana.
Yeah. Vince would correct him and say it's Tito, and Jesse would say, "Yeah, that's what I said, Chico." Yeah.
Chico Santana.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was a
we're
different
gonna
time.
get canceled.
It was a different time.
But it's so great. And look, Tito, you can definitely tell the skills had fallen off a little bit, rightfully so. I mean, Tito had been doing it for
a little bit. You're still damn
so
good
long.
though.
Still good, yeah.
They had a really good match.
Shawn did a very good job in that match, and the ending, I thought both men deserved better than what the ending was.
Yeah.
I thought the ending was hokey, but all things considered, you know, they were still trying to figure out Shawn is a singles.
Yep.
And I don't even think he had a finisher then. I think it was that slingshot suplex. He hadn't even adopted
the
Sweet
super
Chin
kick.
Music yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, I thought that was the one of the two bright spots of this card.
So then after that, everything grinds to a screeching halt. Oh God, I hated this. Look, no disrespect to the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, whatever name you want to use them for. Obviously, they use different names in different promotions. But that promo, they come out, they don't have a match. They come out for a promo with Paul Ellering, who had been their longtime manager, who is now back. I think this was the first time Ellering was with them in WWF.
No.
It wasn't?
No. Remember, SummerSlam was at Wembley.
Oh, Ellering was there at that point? Okay.
Yes, because he had that stupid ventriloquist dummy riding on the motorcycle with him.
Oh, this was after Rocco? Was it Rocco, the dummy?
Yup.
This was after. Rocco. Okay. I've got my timeline confused. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking this was before. Oh, God.
Because Brett had the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
Lost it to Bulldog. Bulldog dropped it. Brett won it back, and then Brett legitimately was very sick.
Yeah.
And
when he lost to the Mountie?
He lost to the Mountie, and then Piper beat the Mountie at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So that's how I remember the timeline.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, this promo, it just seemed like it went on forever. I'm like, oh my God, is this ever going to end? I mean, LOD, look, I think they could do really strong promos, actually, but the trick is it's got to be short to the point. Hawk talks, Animal talks, whoever, I can't remember which one used to say what a rush, whatever. Just get that promo done and out of there. This just went on and on and on. Oh.
There's something to be said here for synergy within a tag team.
Yeah.
And at this point, Hawk's Demons were in full control, and him and Joe Laurinaitis, who is Animal, were not getting along at all.
Yeah.
So even doing a promo, if you're not getting along with your tag team partner, it's gonna show.
Is that why they brought back Ellering at that point, do you think?
Well, yes and no. Paul Ellering is, you got to understand with Paul Ellering, everyone's like, well, Paul was just their manager. Paul was pretty much their real life manager.
He was, yep.
He made sure they got to things on time, advised them on how to invest their money, watch their payouts. He did everything for them.
Yeah, and he's a legit manager.
I think the big thing with Paul Ellering was, okay, we bring Paul Ellering into the mix. Maybe he can get Hawk under control.
That makes sense. I didn't know that. That makes sense, though. Yeah.
And maybe we can get this curtailed so when he comes back from the suspension, there's that, let's rein him in. Let's
Yeah.
rein him in and get this under control. Because we know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And it just never really happened. And
No.
that's the shameful part of it. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, because I believe I want to say a few months down the road is when Hawk legitimately quit WWE, just walked out and
Yeah.
left Animal high and dry,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then went and competed in Japan with someone else's the New Road Warriors or something.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that all sounds familiar. Yeah, so that promo was brutal. I was so glad when it was over. It says here the Legion of Doom were originally supposed to challenge Money Inc. for the championship, but due to Hawk being under suspension until after WrestleMania, they were replaced in the match by the Natural Disasters, which obviously we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
So up next, was this one of your bright spots? Because this was for me. Jake
No.
Roberts versus The Undertaker. No.
And
You didn't
it
like
has
this?
to do with the gross unprofessionalism of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Okay.
Look, as great as Jake is,
Mhm.
you're going to hear this word a lot, I think, in this episode. Jake's demons had fully taken hold.
Yeah.
And Jake had negotiated a deal with WCW, a deal that was going to be, unbeknownst to Jake, pulled from him when Bill Watts took over.
Yep.
Kip Fry negotiated it with Jake. Everything was done except dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Yeah.
Jake was going to make millions.
Yeah.
So in this match, obviously Undertaker's going over.
Yeah.
But Jake changed it and had Taker give him the tombstone outside the ring. And then
that was Jake's. That's what he wanted.
Yes, he called that in the ring.
Oh, he did.
The original finish was tombstone in the middle, 1, 2, 3.
Because I did find that odd. I didn't know the backstory here, but I did find it odd that it was on the outside of the ring like that.
Yes.
Okay. Why did Jake want that? Do you know?
Because he wanted to go out looking strong.
But that's weird because that doesn't make him look any stronger.
Yes, it does.
You think so?
Because here's the logic.
Yeah.
Undertaker, this big, badass, bad guy running through everyone. But to beat Jake Roberts, he had to tombstone him outside on the arena floor to get the pin.
Yeah, I see it, but I don't think it matters much.
Grading the match, it's a good match, but again, we go back to the point I made with Tito Santana. Yeah, you can tell Jake there were issues.
Mm-hmm.
Jake wasn't as good as he used to be in the ring. And that was very telling in this match.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they had such an amazing story leading up to this.
Oh, I loved the build-up.
The build-up was amazing.
Yes.
I thought that this match, it could have been a triple main event with this match. I think with that expectation, this match fell way short.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it just because I liked the characters involved. I did not know the backstory though behind the finish, so that's interesting.
Yeah. That really led to the issues with Vince and Jake. I mean, there were issues already because Jake had been promised a run with Warrior. Mm-hmm. Warrior held up the company. Vince fired him. There went Jake's big money run. Jake said he was promised an agent position, and Vince said no due to Jake's extracurriculars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, is what it is. Jake has admitted he was wrong in doing that.
Oh yeah.
what he did. That's like a cardinal sin in pro wrestling
Yeah.
to change a finish like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in Undertaker still being somewhat green and wanting to keep his job was
Oh,
like,
yeah. Yeah. He's going to do whatever Jake tells him in that case. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And, so yeah, he did it and it came off as serviceable, but
Yeah.
not the definitive ending that feud deserved.
No, I agree. So up next, this has to be one of your bright spots, right?
This is the bright spot.
Roddy Piper versus Bret the Hitman Hart for the Intercontinental title. I remember all those years ago, and I feel the same way about it now. I loved everything about this. I loved everything about the build up to it. I loved everything about the match itself. I loved everything about it. It was so, so, so good.
This is Bret becoming a main event guy.
Yes, I agree.
This is when I think the light in WWF's head, the light bulb went off.
Yeah.
We have something with Bret Hart.
Yep.
Because look, you can put Roddy Piper with anyone and you're going to get a good match out of it.
Sure.
But what Bret Hart did in an event where this was the fourth match. That's generally the match right before intermission.
Yeah.
To have this match be there and for them to tear down the house like they did.
Yeah.
And the finish. We have seen Bret Hart copy that finish multiple times.
Yeah.
And every time he does, it makes perfect sense. And it did in this instance.
Well, and it put Bret over in a major way too, Piper being willing to do that, because Piper had this thing where, he refused to be pinned, but he took the pin and he was willing to do that for Bret. And it was fantastic. And Piper didn't look any worse for it because, ultimately what matters to us as we look at these things, it's not who won or lost. It's how entertaining was it? How good was the match itself? It was so good.
What a great match does for me is if I go back and watch it all these years after, I still have the same feelings and emotions I had when I first watched it? Or are they amplified? If it's either or, it's a great match. It's an all-time great match. This match fits that criteria.
Absolutely.
I can watch this match ad nauseum. And I think if anyone is looking to get into professional wrestling, this is one of the matches you have to watch. Because Bret and Piper put on a clinic on how you tell a story within the ring.
Yes. Not only that, but another thing that made this match really interesting was this was two baby faces at a time when that was unusual. Now today it's every week we've got babyface versus babyface and heel versus heel matches. But at this point, it was pretty rare, not unheard of, but it was relatively rare. And the crowd, supported them both, and but that was unusual at that time. But it worked.
That was
spectacularly well. Yeah.
It did. And kudos to both men.
Yeah. Yep. And they both came out of it, both baby faces too. Still, just absolutely incredible. And by the way, too, that was the point as I was watching it with Jenny, that was kind of the point where I started to realize, so far, all my impressions that I'm having watching this now, watching WrestleMania 8 in the year 2025, it's all the same impressions and feelings I had watching it all those years ago. Like it hasn't changed. Like I remember thinking all these same things then, what I liked and what I didn't like and all that. So up next was this promo where they do this satellite interview with Lex Luger because he couldn't contractually compete yet in the WWF, but instead he was the marquee name for Vince's World Bodybuilding Federation. And Lex looks inhuman in this interview. I don't know if they might have intentionally for, as a production choice, gotten a chair for him that was too small, but he looked unnaturally. I mean, he had to be pharmaceutically enhanced, right?
Oh yeah.
Like he looked
that would-
cartoonishly large.
That body was not from Ico Pro.
No. Oh, Ico Pro. That's right. Yes. Ico Pro. That was
Oh, Vince's. Oh, I hear that the stuff tasted awful
the big
too.
thing. Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all I know is it takes an integrated approach to training, and that's what Ico Pro is all about, according to Brett. But I still remember that commercial.
Oh dear God.
But yeah, this yeah, I mean, Luger just looked, I mean, it was like
Cartoonish.
Yeah, he looked like a cartoon. It was wild.
I mean, I don't know what's worse. This promo or when they introduced him as the narcissist in Bobby Heenan's homoerotic.
I know.
Like, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Well, at first he wasn't even the narcissist because in the build-up, Heenan kept calling him Narcissus. We're going to debut Narcissus, and then they changed it when it was time for him to actually debut.
No,
and then
Bobby
he became
Heenan
the narcissist.
couldn't say narcissist.
He couldn't say it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
he figured it out eventually, but yeah.
World
pretty rough.
Bodybuilding Federation.
Yeah.
I remember I bought the first issue of their magazine.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you still have it?
No.
Okay.
No. I was like 8, Matt.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Some people still have stuff from when they were
I wish
very
I
young.
would have kept it because I guarantee you, like, I could probably, if I did find a collector that would just go gaga over it.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I mean, the World Bodybuilding Federation clothing sells for like $100 for a t-shirt. And those cut off sweatshirts they would wear sell for like $200.
Oh, wow. So next up was the 8-man tag. Big Boss Man, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter, and Virgil against the Mountie, the Nasty Boys, Repo Man, and the Repo Man. Now, and Family Feud host Ray Combs was guest ring announcer. Now, I have a confession to make, Eric. When this match was about to start, I said to Jenny, do you want to just skip this one? I couldn't do it.
Let's do it.
I didn't have the fortitude.
No,
and it's not like I hate everybody who was in the match or anything.
No good is going to come from us talking about this match. It was bad.
Yeah.
Just the names listed. I did not. I laid there and watched it and like, you know what? This works well after intermission because no person in that crowd is going to be like, I'm sad I missed this.
No. And look, no disrespect to Ray Traylor. Loved the Big Boss Man. Not so much what he did in the ring, but I just loved the character. Same with the Mountie, by the way. I thought the Mountie was hilarious. I loved the Mountie. I thought he was very funny, but no way in hell was I sitting through this match.
You want just horrible cartoonish gimmicks. That's what this match was.
Yeah.
I mean, they let Virgil be in the ring and actually try to throw some holds. That should tell you where we were at.
Oh, they let Virgil even get the pin. He pinned Brian Knobbs. Like I don't know that because I remember because I didn't watch it. I'm seeing it here on online. That was the finish. Yeah, I guess that was the beginning of Virgil's big push, huh? Lonely Virgil. Well, now he's dead. Rest in peace.
Meat sauce.
Virgil
always talked about getting heavy meat sauce.
Oh, at Olive Garden, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was this thing.
And showing up at wrestling cons uninvited and unbooked to sell autographs.
Yep. Lonely Virgil. Let's see. So next, now this was a bright spot for me. Ric Flair with Mr. Perfect defending against Macho Man Randy Savage. Loved it.
I think it was a good match. And I think the horrible story they had in the lead up to this.
Yeah.
really hurt the match.
You think so? Yeah.
And I don't like the ending.
No, why?
Because it makes Macho Man, it makes it look as if he was lucky to win.
Because he held the tights. See, I mean,
He held the tights, he did the roll up, and
Yeah.
it was like, and Rick got a large part of the offense in that match.
Yeah, he did.
And so I think it just is flawed storytelling.
Sure.
But I think it was a very good match. I think these two had better matches in WCW.
I do too, and they wrestled each other a lot in WCW. Actually, yeah.
I think that this match is shockingly as good as it is probably the worst match they would have.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. But
I think the saving grace of this match was the after-match promo with Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah.
Covered in blood. Just looking deranged.
With his blonde hair. The contrast of the blood with his blonde hair is quite a visual. Yeah.
And the fact that he got fined for blading was totally worth it. It just made it so much better. And you knew Ric Flair was going to get the title back.
Right, right.
And it did happen down the road. And then it set the stage for Bret to beat Flair.
Yep.
So...
but yeah, I loved it, and I loved Macho Man's promo afterward. You know, of course, Macho Man Randy Savage is my all-time favorite, so I'm going to be a little biased anyway. But no, I loved. Oh, and by the way, Jenny had a visceral reaction to the finish. She was really into this one. She's like, yes, when Macho Man won, she was very happy. So because she'd never seen it before.
Yeah, I think when if you watch it for the first time, that's a very good point, Matt.
Yeah.
You watch it for the first time, you love it.
Yeah.
But as you watch it repeatedly and you see what they did in WCW, the stories they told, the matches they had, you're like,
yeah,
what a shit finish.
Yeah. The best was yet to come, but in another promotion. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them deserved better than that finish.
Yeah. So up next was Rick Martel versus Tatanka. You know, at some point too, I made a comment to Jenny, and it might have been going into this match, that a lot of these characters just would not fly today. This was a very cartoonish era. I did enjoy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think this card suffers from too many matches.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Trying to fit it all in. Like, you could have butchered that 8-man tag match. That didn't have to happen.
No, it didn't.
Rick Martel Tatanka match did not have to happen. I think this card is very guilty of trying to get as many guys on the card just to get them over.
Sure.
And I think that Tatanka, and I love Tatanka. I think he's a great character, and everything you hear about him, his first name's Chris. I forget his last name.
Chavez. Chris Chavez is his name.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, that's true. You never hear anything bad about Tatanka.
No, and a great worker. I mean, you know, something to say. His win streak ended against Ludwig Borga.
Yeah.
He put Ludwig Borga over because he felt it would be good for the business.
Yeah.
And turns out that, I mean, no, he knew. Everyone knew about the Nazi tattoos and everything like that. And honestly, this will probably be the most we talk about Ludwig Borga, because guy is a piece of shit. If you have Nazi tattoos on your body, and we're in the late 90s, early 2000s, and you still believe in Nazi beliefs, you're a scumbag and you're just stupid.
Yeah.
So you're an asshole and you're not worth the air you breathe.
Yeah. No, but I was like Tatanka, but I also liked, and again,
are you going to say you like the model Rick Martel?
Because for the same reason I liked the Mountie. It was so goofy, but he committed to the character so hard
that's why I love it.
I just thought it was funny as hell. I thought it was funny. And,
You look at everything Rick Martel, sorry to cut you off, man.
No, that's okay.
You look at everything Rick Martel has achieved,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's still remembered as the model with arrogance, which blinded Jake Roberts.
Yes, I remember that. And I mean, it's kind of a shame in one way, because he was sort of a victim to the same thing that Tito Santana fell victim to. Here was this guy who was already well established, totally over, had this great career, and now he was given this goofy gimmick. But in the case of Rick Martel, like I said,
made it work.
Yeah, he committed, and he clearly, it was obvious that he didn't mind. He was having fun. He was having a lot of fun playing that character. You know,
if we're going to talk about Rick Martel, I don't know again when we'll get the chance to talk about him again.
Yeah.
But his best of 7 match series with Booker T really got Booker T over in WCW, down the road even. Rick Martel, just steady worker.
He was an AWA world champion.
Yes. Yeah, just consistently good performer.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. Just A+, Rick Martel.
Yeah, I loved everything about that. It's even the the button, and he was wearing it at the pay-per-view.
Yes, I'm a model.
Yes, I am a model. It's just everything, and the atomizer, and he's spraying it. Oh, it's just so good.
The sweater, the tied off sweater across the neck.
Yeah,
just everything about that you would associate 80s egomania with.
Yeah,
Rick Martel exuded.
Yeah. So, and I thought the match was okay. I didn't mind the match.
It was a good match. It was a good match. Again, you had two guys that were just, one was a good worker, one a great worker, and they went out. I think that this is a perfect time to say the theory of they didn't try to overdo things. They just went out and had a good match. And sometimes that's what you got to do. That's the job.
Right.
Like, don't get it in your head. Hey, we're wrestling on WrestleMania. We got to take it up a notch. No, you can have a house show match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Next up was Tag Team Champions Money Inc., of course, Ted DiBiase and Irwin R. Shyster versus the Natural Disasters, Earthquake, and Typhoon. Mixed feelings here, and I'll tell you why. So we didn't want this one. We actually tried. We got partway through the match, and I said to Jenny, "I'm kind of bored. You want to just skip the rest of this match?" I did like, because they kind of took a little bit of a chance. I did like the Natural Disasters as baby faces. I thought that was kind of cool, just because we'd never seen Earthquake as a baby face before.
I liked Earthquake as a babyface.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue with that.
I thought that was kind of cool.
I thought this match was the drizzling shit. It was bad.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase was, for all intents and purposes, done.
Oh, yeah.
Irwin R. Shyster, Mike Rotunda is a great wrestler.
Ray's dad, of course.
Yes. I just don't think, and Bo Dallas's dad.
Yep.
I don't think Mike was fully invested in the Irwin R. Shyster character.
I think I think he committed to the character early on, but I think at this point it had been too long.
And I love Earthquake and Typhoon, and
and I liked you can kind of tell I liked the finish only because you can kind of tell, like John Tenta, Earthquake, he looked legit happy, winning a title as a babyface at WrestleMania. It's kind of a cool moment for him, because he's another guy. Nobody has anything bad to say about John Tenta. No. Obviously, he's passed away now. But...
I mean, the fact that he has a dark side of the ring is very confusing to me, because we associate bad guys with having a dark side of the ring.
Right. Yeah.
But John Tenta has one. And if you want to know more about him, his family is involved in it. And it's a very touching episode.
Okay.
Just about the man. And even when cancer was just eating away at his body, he was just very, very still, not negative and just all about his family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very happy that he got into the WWE Hall of Fame this past year.
Yeah.
Him and the Shockmaster.
I said that to Jenny too. I said, by the way,
Fred Ottman.
Typhoon, he that's the same guy who's the Shockmaster.
The Shockmaster.
Yep. Come at
Oh,
me, Sting.
that was Ole Anderson's greatest performance.
Yeah, probably, huh?
Yeah. Ole Anderson with the voice. I got to tell my Shockmaster story.
Yeah.
So, if you ever hear Dusty tell the story, because Dusty booked this.
Yeah.
He booked the Shockmaster.
Yeah.
There's a clip of the unedited version of the Shockmaster debuting when he trips through the wall and you hear Ric Flair go, "Oh God."
Yeah.
But he gets back there and Dusty's just sitting there like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And Fred goes, "You think I fucked that up?" And Dusty goes, "I think you done fucked it up, buddy."
Yeah. He's another guy, though, everyone loves. Nobody ever has anything bad to say about Fred Ottman either.
Fred Ottman, I've actually had conversations with Fred.
Have you? I think I was mentioning this, yeah.
Yeah, Fred's a great guy. Fred is just like, Fred's a sweetheart. And, you just wish there were more guys like him. And he fully embraces the Shockmaster.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll do conventions and he will have the Shockmaster helmet with him.
Oh, that's
like
great.
So many guys would probably disavow this.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Fred,
what he's known for, yeah.
I mean, if you're known for something notoriously not bad, as in something morally wrong, but bad, like a bad movie, you can either, one, embrace it, or two, disavow it.
Yeah.
Fred embraces it. He has boxes of the Shockmaster figures and he will sign them for people.
Yeah.
Hit him up on Facebook, $50. You can own a signed Shockmaster figure.
Good for him. Good for him.
I mean, he is a sweetheart, and the love he has for John Tenta. Yeah. If you could definitely tell during the Hall of Fame induction, the love he had for John Tenta.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, great guys. Probably one of the most underrated tag teams in WWE history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they were 2-time tag champions. And they won the titles as both heels and baby faces.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So the next to last match, the penultimate match, Owen Hart versus Skinner. I have another confession to make. No disrespect to Owen Hart. Love Owen Hart. But we skipped this one. I could not have given a shit less about Skinner, Steve Keirn. I just didn't care. I didn't want to bother. It was getting late.
I think this match, you see flashes of what made Owen good.
Yeah.
And you see flashes of the end of Steve Keirn. And
flashes
Steve Keirn
of the end. I mean, I would say he was already done.
Yeah, Skinner was an awful gimmick.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not Waylon Mercy level bad, but it's up there.
Yeah, I actually liked Waylon Mercy. But
Waylon Mercy is the precursor to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. I like Waylon Mercy. I saw potential in that,
I don't think Dan Spivey was given a fair shake with that.
I agree. I
think if you would have put him with a really good baby face, if you would have put him in a run with Bret Hart, man, it would have been good. It would have been good. But no, instead you had Bret wrestling a demented dentist.
Yeah. Well, so then we get to the main event, or the co-main event. Hulk Hogan in what could be his last match. Who really knows, right? At the
Well,
time,
we know.
well, we know now, but versus Sid Justice. Oh, by the way, I noticed something during this match that I'd forgotten about. On commentary, Gorilla Monsoon refers to him a few times, I think, as Psycho Sid, which eventually, in a few years, when Sid came back, he came back as Psycho Sid. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, so these guys had they had a match.
In the history of pro wrestling, Matt, there have been many matches. This was one of them.
Yep.
I think we can kind of one. Just this is bad. It's so bad. Hogan has to get his spots in. This would have been the perfect match to have Hogan get the crap beat out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then hit the comeback.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen. And it totally killed Sid. It killed this run for Sid.
Well, Sid was on his way out anyway, wasn't he? That was the whole point of bringing back the Warrior at the end and chasing Sid away.
Well, yes, but you could have left the door open for him to come back if the match was done better.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And you know, people say, well, what killed this match was Papa Shango missing the cue.
We should talk about that because a lot of people aren't going to know that story.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so Papa Shango was
later
supposed
became,
to do a...
Later became the Godfather.
You're missing a character.
I know, Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine.
Yes.
I try to repress that memory. Kama was lame.
Kama
Obviously.
was awesome. Kama was awesome.
Did you like Kama?
I liked Kama.
Really? I thought it sucked.
I mean, it wasn't Saba Simba, but...
Oh, God. Poor Tony Atlas, yeah.
You want racist stereotypes?
Well,
I don't think you can find a Saba Simba match on the network.
Probably not. No, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably, hoo boy.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Did they ever do Saba Simba versus Akeem? Probably not, huh?
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
Like, the balls to do Akeem during apartheid. What are you doing?
I know. It was a different time.
Apparently.
So the finish of the match. So Hogan and Sid, they have their shit fest. And then it's time for the finish. And so I've heard a couple variations of this story. So Papa Shango comes running out of inexplicably. Like, I don't remember there being any buildup to him getting involved. This seemed random, right?
Well, Papa Shango had a knack for going after the top baby faces, the all-powerful baby faces. Because keep in mind, he did that gimmick with Warrior with the green vomit and all this other crap.
Yeah.
But so it made sense in that regard, and I think Harvey Whippleman was his manager.
Oh, okay. I hadn't made that connection. Okay,
that
makes sense.
tie made sense
because Whippleman was there in the corner of Sid.
Yes. Look, the story I'm sticking to, because Charles Wright, everything I've heard is he's pretty much a professional.
Yeah.
Guy does business, does what he's supposed to. I think Gorilla Monsoon missed the cue he was supposed to do.
Oh, you think Monsoon was supposed to cue him?
That's the story I have heard. And the story has come from Bruce Pritchard as well. That there was supposed to be a cue on commentary for Papa Shango to hit the ring, and Gorilla Monsoon didn't say the line.
Oh,
so they didn't cue him until they started seeing the finish, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
Oh,
and thank heavens Harvey Whippleman knew what was going on, and Harvey Whippleman gets in and it was just a cluster. You could definitely tell that things went tits up, as they say.
So Papa Shango runs out because supposedly, so Hogan does his finishing move, the leg drop on Sid, and Sid kicks out. Allegedly, that wasn't supposed to happen.
No, Papa Shango was supposed to break up the pin.
Was supposed to break up the pin,
causing the disqualification.
I like what happened better, even though what happened, I mean, you know, shit versus shit is still shit. But at least what ended up happening was slightly more interesting. Just seeing Sid kick out of Hogan's leg drop, because.
But then you ask the question, like, why is Papa Shango interfering when Sid just kicked out?
Yeah, true.
And it creates more of a cluster.
Yeah,
like Sid kicked out. Why are you here?
Yeah, the whole finish was terrible.
I mean, so a blown cue can screw everything up.
Because even if everything had gone correctly, it's still a terrible finish. Like, why do you want this finish for the this kind of a finish for the main event at WrestleMania? You're going to end WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, with a crappy finish where
DQ finish.
Yeah, well, like why? Like, what were they thinking? What was Vince thinking? It's crazy. It's so dumb. And then, Hogan's got to fight these guys off, Sid and Papa Shango, and then
Warrior comes back and
Warrior's music hits, and he runs out and chases away Sid and Papa Shango. And as Bruce Pritchard likes to say, Hogan must pose. So then Hogan and Warrior triumphantly do their big pose in the ring, and that went on. I think longer than LOD's promo.
Yeah, well, because this was supposed to be the last. This was supposed to be the last hurrah for Hogan.
Yeah, and of course this was his way of passing the torch to the Warrior. Well, I'm leaving, but the Warrior is back.
Yes,
the whole thing was terrible. Oh God. And so it would have been logical. Now, it could have been intriguing if Sid was sticking around, but Sid was also out of there because they could have done Warrior versus Sid, but they didn't, right? From what I remember, they just did Warrior versus Papa Shango.
I do need to add, I screwed up earlier.
Okay.
You were right with the Road Warrior timeline. I was wrong.
Oh, okay.
SummerSlam at Wembley was the next event. It was after this WrestleMania.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought Rocco was closer to Attitude Era when they brought in Rocco the Puppet.
Yeah. SummerSlam was next.
Okay.
Because you had Ultimate Warrior and Savage for the WWF Championship.
Oh, yes. That I liked.
That was shockingly enough, that's probably the best Warrior has done.
Yeah. Savage could bring the best out of almost anybody except maybe Crush. But well, there was nothing to be brought out of Crush, I guess was the problem. But yeah, I liked that whole thing. But yeah, this was the way they ended WrestleMania. This was terrible. I mean, this was on the same level as I get the numbers mixed up. When Hogan wins the title from Yokozuna after Bret.
WrestleMania 9, that was the next year.
Oh, that was the next year, yeah. I wonder if that influenced, like, I wonder if Vince at the end of WrestleMania 8 said, okay, we can do a crappy, lame finish and the fans they're still going to cheer just because it's Hogan. So I guess we can get away with that next year too.
No.
No, I know. The dynamics were very different.
I don't even want to get into WrestleMania 9 because I know. Oh boy. But yeah, I think this card was overbooked. And you had too many matches. You had too many guys on the card that didn't deserve to be on the card or shouldn't have been on the card. And it overshadowed what was some very good matches, but the
Yeah.
missteps are so big that it
Yeah.
really hurts this card.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The missteps kill it.
Yeah.
The Jake the Snake Roberts finish, the missed cue, the 8-man tag, the Road Warriors promo, Lex Luger's promo, just so many things went bad that
Mhm.
and then the main event. One, WrestleMania should always end with the title.
Oh yeah, I thought that was so weird when watching this back in the day. I was like, I remember being confused. I remember watching it live and being confused. I was like, when they do Flair versus Savage, I was like, huh? They're doing this now?
I mean, you know, it goes back, and I go to WrestleMania X8 to prove this point. Everyone seems to forget that Hogan and Rock was not the main event of that WrestleMania.
Right.
They did not go on last. You
That's
remember
right.
that you remember that match the most.
Yes.
And that proves you can have Brett and Roddy prove that on this WrestleMania. You can have a very memorable match, one of the greatest matches of all time, and be on the third or fourth match or fifth match.
They stole the show. Yeah.
You can steal the show. Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3.
I was just thinking about that. Yep. That's the match everyone talks about from WrestleMania 3. Yep.
It almost overtakes Andre Hogan.
Oh, I think it does. I mean, I don't think Hogan
I think as time has went on, it does, but I think at that moment it didn't. But look, so yeah, I think that this card was horribly misbooked.
Yeah.
I think me personally, I think if you weren't going to do Hogan versus Flair, you don't put Hogan on the card.
At all? Really?
At all. You don't put him on the card because you set up for something like this. You have two guys that don't care in the main event. Hogan's taking a break or retiring. Sid's 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What?
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah. It's awful.
I mean, and you take this great championship win and you bury it.
Yeah. In the middle of the show. In the middle of the show.
And you're like, okay, so a DQ finish is more important than your title?
Yeah, just bizarre.
But this card is memorable for the fact that it jump-started Bret Hart's main event run.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing and really started showing Shawn Michaels as a singles competitor.
I agree. But yeah,
two guys that would really be a part of the biggest changes in the business.
True, yeah. And yeah, I would really encourage people if you're gonna check out anything from WrestleMania 8, check out Bret versus Piper. So good.
Yeah.
In every way.
Bret Hart's favorite match of his career.
Has he said that? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, he has.
Because I know he also speaks highly of of course, the first match to ever be in the Hall of Fame, Bret versus Austin.
He still says that Piper, because that was him being solidified.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
That was him becoming a single star.
Yeah.
Because there was still the theory of, can he do this? Can he carry the ball? Yeah, he was the Intercontinental Champion. And yeah, we had him beat Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam. And yeah, it was always but. And I think this got rid of the but. It was, okay, we can do something with this guy.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think
that this was the fitting end of Hulkamania in WWF.
Should have been.
It was. It was, because even when he came back, the fans still poo-pooed on it.
Yeah, true.
I mean, so, Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think you're
mean,
right. Actually,
you
no,
can
the more I
sit
think about it.
here and say, well, they still cheered and okay, but the whole point of them putting the title on Hogan, depending on who you believe at WrestleMania 9, was they were going to do this big international tour
Yeah,
and
that's
this
what Bruce says. Yeah.
and they wanted to draw and it's didn't draw any better than it would have with Brett. As a matter of fact, in some cities it undersold.
Yeah.
So, this was I think the beginning of the end of Hulkamania.
Yeah.
This is when the Hulkamania Titanic hit the iceberg.
Well, also the steroid scandal was happening, right? So
You can definitely tell a change in him.
yeah, he was significantly smaller.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, steroid scandal, I think, WWF, this was the start of the changing of the guard. Going from the big mammoth guys to the smaller guys that were very technically sound. And I think that there was some apprehension about that. That's why I just thought of this. That's why I would say you didn't have Savage Flair in the main event
Hmm.
because there's apprehension about these two everymen, I guess you could call them, being
Yeah.
your men of your biggest card.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, all right. So I think we've exhausted that WrestleMania 8. Should we talk about next week?
A, a double header. We have 2 weeks planned.
Yes, actually, yes. But they relate to
Yes.
each other, of course.
Next week we will look at the very first All In from not from AEW,
Right.
a independent show booked and produced by Ring of Honor. And I have some very interesting stories because I was in Chicago the day All In was announced.
Oh, okay.
The day tickets went on sale, I was in Chicago.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And because Ring of Honor had a show that
Yeah.
day as
Okay.
well.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
there's a lot of great stories I have because we are in the full trenches of Bullet Club Mania
Yeah.
at this point, and there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Cool.
the following week, we're going to look at the first 6 years of AEW. Hits, misses, regrets. If you're a fan of AEW, I'm going to advise you may not want to listen to that one because
Well, I'll have some positive things to say, even though I don't watch it very much. I'll have
I'm
some
not gonna oversell it. Mine will be.
in terms of the positive impact on the business overall that I think
Yeah, I
they
mean,
don't get enough
I
credit
will
for.
have some positives, but look, people, if in 10 weeks you haven't gathered my thoughts on AEW, you haven't really been listening. So
Without AEW, you don't have Cody Rhodes as a main eventer in WWE.
yes, you do.
I disagree, but that'll be a good argument we can have because that gets clicks.
That yes, we do.
Without AEW, you might not even have CM Punk right now. You might not.
I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you on that.
Okay.
But I will not agree with you on Cody, and I will share why next week because I have some things I can share and talk about that people that weren't in Chicago that fateful day might not know.
Oh, very cool. Okay, well, I look forward to that very much. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and of course, make sure you give us a like on all the socials, Tough Bumps, and if you want to know more about me, mattconnerton.com, all of my various endeavors. And if you are catching this live on Friday as we stream this, of course, I'll be on this weekend, as I am every Saturday, Jenny and I, on Matt Connerton Unleashed, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Go to mattconnerton.com for details on that. And Eric, what do you want the people to know?
You can look me up on Instagram, epilcher617. Twitter, erpilcher319, Facebook, Eric Pilcher.
And we should tell people too, you want to look for Eric with an H.
Yes, Eric with an H.
Because you have an unusual spelling.
It's not unusual. It's a German spelling.
I didn't know that. I should have known that though.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
German
Irish and
spelling.
German. I should have known that, but never occurred to me. Have you met a lot of other Erics that spell it that way?
No. And funny enough, in school, every year until like my junior year of high school, there was always one teacher that would say Erich.
Really?
Full
Yeah.
And it's like C before H makes a K, and you're the person up there teaching me.
right.
This makes no sense to me at all.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Oh
funny.
yeah, I think they would call me an incorrigible ball breaker.
Sure. Sure. All right.
Yeah, yeah. It also led to one of my many nicknames, Erich.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, Erich.
Mm. My nickname in high school was Canarton
Canarton.
because people had trouble with my
Wasn't
last name.
Covington?
No, it was not Covington or Connington. It was Canarton.
Ratso Fatso?
No, no.
Well,
or Matzo or whatever.
yeah. Well, so stupid people come up with stupid nicknames.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should dedicate songs on this show, man.
Oh.
There is, one way, I will tell you this. One way to a woman's heart is to dedicate a very offensive and obscenity-filled song to her.
Yes. That's what a real New Yorker does.
Absolutely. We should all strive to be the sewer scum of New York.
Wow. All right. Well,
on that note.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everybody. And we'll talk at you next week.